Welcome, fellow Toastmasters and guests. This meeting of online presenters has now begun. Guests, please note that in order to be a member of our club, you must be a current or former active member of Toastmasters International and have completed at least 6 Toastmasters official speeches, or alternatively, if you have substantial relevant presentation experience, you may apply for membership after demonstrating your abilities in a 2 to 3 minute speech delivered during one of our club meetings. All requests for membership are subject to approval by the members of our club. If you have not already done so, please change your panel to ensure it shows your name and role if you have one. Right-click and select Rename to do so. We have members and guests from many countries throughout the world. Thus, as a professional organization, we ask that you please be aware of language or word usage that may be considered offensive or otherwise insensitive due to cultural differences. Please note that we will be recording this meeting. Your video or audio contribution may be used for club marketing purposes. Also, please mute your microphone when you're not speaking. Please welcome our club president, DTM, Andrew Byrne.
I am back again. Well, we are trying to, each and every one of us, work in our clubs to improve and develop. We are not like my background, all robots sitting in front of a computer trying to figure things out. Speaking is very important. I've recently read 2 different articles. Anyone wants them, I'd be happy to send them to you. One from Forbes and another from Business that talks about the soft skills of communications and how it's so critical in businesses, what businesses are looking for right now. So you are all leaders. You're learning how to use Zoom and other technologies. And by doing that, you are improving your soft skills and improving your desirability by corporations. We will look forward to helping every member of Toastmasters in our club reach the goals that they want, whether that's your DTM or Distinguished Toastmaster goal, or whether it's the Advanced Certified Speaker goal, or whether it's any goal like your icebreaker. We have ways of helping you, ways of pointing out where things are. I'm just going to point out that one of our members joined a little bit late. Hector, just say hello and where you're from currently.
Thank you. This is Hector Cabrera from Houston, Texas. Happy to be here.
Okay. And originally you're from Mexico City, right?
That is correct.
Okay. So maintaining our global characteristics for our club. We will keep people informed. We are having today a guest demonstrating some software because of David's connections to the software industry. He's constantly providing opportunities for the club to see new technologies, and we thank David for that. We're going to be bringing Kim up to do an induction in a moment. I'll let Carolyn, who's the Toastmaster today, do that for us. But I just wanted to preview that we have some exciting things taking place. And at the end of the meeting, all new guests will be requested, given the opportunity to come up and tell us a little bit about themselves as they decide whether they're going to join this wonderful advanced club. Go ahead.
Can we
Carolyn?
maybe do the presentation with Alan before the induction? Just
Yes.
he may have some places to go.
Yeah, if he's ready to go now, we can have him. Is he on? I don't see him on the screen.
No, he's here. And
there he
let me, if you don't mind, I'll give an introduction of Alan, and I'll try and do it the proper way. By showing you something about this Airglass tool, which is pretty cool because you can sort of put yourself in the picture, if I can do this properly, and you can demo things in the foreground while leaving yourself in the position using the kind of this transparency effect. And I was going to do this demo myself, but when I was able to talk him into doing it. Alan is somebody I've known for years. I used to go to him as a technology journalist for insight into different collaboration technologies, many of which no longer exist as companies.
That's not my fault.
Yeah, I don't think it's entirely.
I don't want to set the stage that they don't exist because of me. Okay.
Yeah. But he's been an analyst at Constellation Research most recently, and this company was able to lure him away to be its chief evangelist. And so, Alan, let's set timing for about 5 minutes, please. And he maybe can stick around for a few minutes to answer some questions. But it's a very interesting technology, and I'd like to get you to get a good look at it.
All right. Well, David, thank you so much for having me, and thank you. It's a pleasure to meet all of you virtually. I will try to be as quick as I can here. I am going to start my screen share in Zoom, something I have to remember how to do here. And you should all be seeing my desktop, and I will start my slides. Okay, so everybody's used to that. That's what we all go through when we're doing our PowerPoint presentations. And David stole a little bit of my thunder, which is wonderful. I actually appreciate that. What I was going to say is, I am going to start the typical PowerPoint presentation like you're all quite familiar with, except I'm going to give it a little bit of a twist. I'm going to fade myself into my content. You are now experiencing for the first time this concept of transparency, call it transparent computing, where we've created a virtual layer of glass on the desktop of your computer. It's not a PowerPoint plugin. It's not something because we're in Zoom. We're essentially, this product that I'm running called Airglass is creating a virtual second layer of desktop on top of your desktop. I can control the level of transparency. I can make you see mostly me. I can make you see all of your slides. And what this allows a presenter to do, and I'm speaking to some of the world's experts, so I'm nervous to even say this, is it allows you to keep connection with the audience and the presenter. This is the first time you're probably looking at a PowerPoint presentation and seeing the presenter's eye contact, nonverbal cues, facial expressions, body motions. I am living inside of my content. And what that allows me to do is start to point to things. And look, what I'm doing, and I'm going to do a very quick demo of this, is virtual hands. I have no headsets on, no controllers. None of you are wearing headsets, but I am able to create virtual representations of my hands to make it very easy for me to highlight sections of the screen and point to what I'm doing. They also allow me to do magical things like highlight specific elements of the screen. So as I move my hands over the screen, what we're doing is using computer vision and machine learning to find areas of the screen. That is not a PowerPoint animation or something that I added to objects. So I can fade myself out and leave myself pull myself like completely into the picture. So you kind of now have this concept that there's a slide there, but if I make it mostly about me, I can still magically bring up pieces of the content of my PowerPoint presentation. I can do it with my mouse as well. If you don't want to be waving your hands in the air, now I'm kind of doing it via my mouse, but I want to show you that, you're able to now present content in brand new ways. Now, my hands don't just become presenters, they actually become tools in the air. So if I click my hands together, I can now actually just draw in the air. I'm not wearing a headset. I'm not doing anything. I can magically just draw in the air with my hands to annotate my slides. It's absolutely insert sci-fi cliche, whichever one you want here, but that's how it works. Now, as presenters, how many of you have ever dreamed of just moving to the next slide by putting your hand up in the air? No clicker, no swipe, no, excuse me, David, can you advance me to the next slide, please? No voice of God, on stage, moving you to the slides. I simply raise my hand in the air and Airglass moves me on to the next set of content. Move over to this side and I can move back a page. So it's really this incredible way to connect with your audience. Now, everything I've been doing so far is this full screen. We call these holograms. So I am this layer of depth on my screen. Microsoft didn't do it. Apple didn't do it. We figured out how to add layers of depth onto your screen. Now, there are times where maybe you don't want to see this full screen version. So what we also have, as David was showing you, are these little circles that we call teleports. Now, I am the only person in Airglass. I am sharing my desktop and you're seeing me in Zoom. But if you were in Airglass, you would be inside my content with me. So if I click on the butterfly here at the top, you'll see we're our own conferencing tool. It works perfectly in Zoom or Teams, but I can just go in and I can enter David's name, add somebody here. I'm actually on an internal system, David, or I would call you right now. I didn't think about that before starting this call because I didn't know you'd be in Airglass, but so I'm on a siloed system, but you can call people in. When you call people in, we split the screen in half. Person one would be over here. Person two would be over here. You're also seeing that I can annotate the screen at any time, not a dedicated whiteboard. I can annotate any screen. If we have 3 people on the call, we create 3 people like a newscast. As soon as we have more than 3 people, we do not do a grid of 3 by 3 or 4 by 4 or 5 by 5 people, because psychologically, physically, mentally, that is massively fatiguing to keep up with eye contact and stressful for people that are off stage. So what we do is something called auto production, where whoever the newest speaker in the meeting is beautifully slides into whichever panel was the longest to go person speaking. So we're only ever going to show you a maximum of 3 people. Now I'm going quick here because I'm going to get the hook, and I don't want to do this in front of professional presenters, but these teleports, I can also drag into any shape on the screen. So I can start to actually live inside my content. So some of you may be, a little bit familiar with PowerPoint Cameo. This is totally different. This isn't a predefined shape that I've decided I want the camera to go into, and it's not specific to PowerPoint. I'm going to end quickly by showing you, I want to make sure to emphasize at the end here, this is, I've been doing everything in PowerPoint. Let's go over to the web and let's bring up the Toastmasters site. I can live now transparently behind the Toastmasters site, and I can talk to you. We could be doing a mock-up of this design, and I could say, hey, we need to change this photo here. We need to work on this. I could come over. I could even drag myself live into the content on your website. So I could actually kind of live in your website. Let me drag that back out. Let's go down to one of these. I was playing with these earlier. Tends to kind of, let me do this. I could live inside this. Now we could be talking about this section, or this one worked really cool. It kind of puts me behind these buildings here. So I'm now live inside your website, and it's an entire, we could talk about the Bahamas. We could talk about the year end, or the year ahead. So it's a whole new way to present. That's the best I can do in 5 minutes. I hope.
Alan, could you put yourself in the Toastmasters magazine so that you're like in the picture and then copy that picture?
I could do a screenshot of it if I right-clicked on it. Let's see which one of these 3. I'll do a lot. I'll figure out live if it works. Where do you want to
go to the Bahamas?
Go to the Bahamas. I would love to go to the Bahamas. I'm in Toronto. It's cold. So you want me to put myself in here? It's doing a little bit of the ocean. I can
smaller so that you can see the picture, and you're not taking the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit here. I'm getting a little bit of the ocean on top of me here, but if I right click, I could save image. It's probably just going to save like your default image from the HTML, but I can certainly take a screenshot of it. I will send that screenshot over or post it in the chat window or something. But it is to wrap up. The main thing that we're trying to do. I couldn't have asked for a better segue earlier. You had said it's all about communication and creating communication skills that allow people to excel in this work from home world when we're all so disconnected. The ability for people to actually maintain eye contact and feel like you're there when you're presenting is the monumental thing that we're working on. Tons more to talk about. I haven't watched my timer. I apologize if I've gotten the gong, but I do want to thank everyone for allowing me to present tonight. I really appreciate it.
Maybe we could have the timer do just 2 minutes for questions, because we do need to get on with the rest of our meeting. I'm sorry for hijacking a portion of it, but I think this is exciting. So Alan, one thing I discovered was that I'm using OBS Studios so that my face still shows up. I would guess that you might have maybe two different webcams, because what happens is if Airglass is locked onto my webcam, then Zoom won't also be able to access the webcam.
Are you in
Uh,
Windows or Mac? Because that's
I'm on Windows. Yeah, maybe it's a Windows thing.
that is a completely an OS thing from Windows, Microsoft Windows. It's not OBS and Airglass. It's any two applications that leverage the camera. So Microsoft locks your camera onto the first application that you're doing. Mac doesn't. So definitely
Okay.
definitely a limitation. You know, we're looking at ways of doing virtual cameras. Or a lot of people are using their phones now as a second level camera and using something like Camo or some other tools to sort of use that as a webcam. But yeah, we right now, you know, I'm on a Mac, I'm in your Zoom meeting and I'm in Airglass at the same time. So Mac doesn't lock my video.
Okay, cool. I think Eva was asking a little bit about pricing.
Sure. Pricing for is $14 or $14.95 a month, or it's discounted for a year. I think it's $150 a year. It's also 14-day free trials. And it's also for Toastmasters. Anyone who wants to reach out to me, I'm happy to give out free gift codes for usage. I would love to get some of the world's top presenters, such as yourself. Happy to connect with you, give tutorials. I'm going to work closely with David. But yeah, standard pricing, $14.95 a month. Friends of David Carr's, you reach out to me. We'll figure something out.
You put your email connection in the chat box.
Absolutely. Let's see. So I'm going to go back to Zoom. Let's hit stop share here so I can find the chat box. I apologize if people were posting anything that I couldn't see during that talk, but easiest way to reach out to me. Let me turn this on.
Why don't we ask for one more question? One more quick question.
Okay, I will leave you guys.
Anybody?
I am going to be at Enterprise Connect in Orlando at the end of the month. I don't know if anybody's attending that just by chance, but otherwise I'm available anytime you'd like. Email, LinkedIn, Twitter, however I can help. David, the Bahamas,
Okay.
we could go to the Bahamas together. Those all sound like good things.
I'm sorry, Sonny, did you want to ask a question? So a hand up. No? Okay. You're just telling us that we're out of time. Okay, very good. All right, thanks for
Enjoy
coming,
the rest of
Alan.
your meeting.
We'll invite you back another time.
Anytime. Cheers.
Back to you, Carolina. Sorry for hijacking your meeting.
No, it's okay. I love the app. Thank you, Alan, for your explanation, your speech, and for introducing us this great tool. Hello, fellow Toastmasters. I'd like to start this meeting introducing the theme for today, entrepreneurship. Starting a business can be the roller coaster ride of your life. I have been an entrepreneur, but I gave up. Many times people only talk about the good things about entrepreneurship, but in advance, you should know the good and the bad. And today I like to share with you some hard facts about entrepreneurship. First, you have to get out of your comfort zone daily. That could be a very good thing. Your first try launching your product or service will most likely fall short or even fail completely. More times than you wish to admit, you have to put your business before your family. You never work 9 to 5 again. Sometimes your typical workday has more than 16 hours, and you have more paperwork that you ever dreamed existed. I lived all of that. Even though the bad, it's still one of my dreams to be an entrepreneur, and I'll give another chance to that path in my life. So be ready to answer some questions about the theme for this meeting in the topics section. Our club is always changing and growing, and this time our Vice President of Membership has an important announcement to give us. Please welcome Kim Leeming.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Carolina. Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, on behalf of Online Presenters Toastmasters, it is my duty and privilege to induct Evie Hartman into our club. This is an important occasion for both Evie Hartman and for our club. As experienced speakers and Toastmasters, this individual will enrich us as we strive to enrich her in a spirit of sharing and enjoyment. Together, we expand our effectiveness as dynamic leaders, presenters, and communicators. Evie, please wait until I call on you to affirm your commitment to the Toastmaster promise. And I'm going to share my screen now. Here we go. In the presence of fellow online presenters, do you pledge to attend meetings regularly and prepare for each assignment, to actively participate in club activities, to evaluate others in a positive, constructive manner, to build open, friendly relationships with our fellow members, and to bring other new members into the club so they can gain the benefits of Toastmasters? Evie, please unmute and say, I do.
I do.
To the current members of online presenters, I remind you of your pledge to support Evie in her quest for self-development, to provide her with positive, helpful evaluations, to maintain a friendly, supportive atmosphere, and to make her online presenters Toastmasters membership a rewarding and fulfilling experience. Congratulations, Evie, and welcome to Online Presenters. Attendees, please unmute and give Evie a big round of applause.
And welcome, Evie. One of us. One of us. One of
All right,
us.
Evie.
Thank you very much.
And thank you so much, Evie. You're going to be a really great addition to the club. And again, welcome.
Thank you so much, Kim.
Oh, you are welcome. Very excited. And back to you, Toastmaster of the Day, Carolina.
Thank you very much, Kim. Evie, I'm very happy that you're part of our club now. For today's meeting, I have a team who will be helping me and supporting this meeting. The first person is the timer. Sunny, would you like to explain your role? Sunny, we cannot hear you. Sunny's experiencing some technical problems. But we have also an accounter, Andy.
Testing.
Great, you're back.
The late Sunny Fridge. Hello, everyone. As timer, and timing is important, so I'll try not to take too much time right now. As timer, I will time the prepared speeches, table topic speakers, and evaluations. Those giving speeches should limit their remarks to the specific speech times. At 5 minutes, I will show the green card. At 6 minutes for a 5 to 7 minute speech, I will show the yellow card, and I will show the red card at 7 minutes, and it will remain. At the minimum time for table topics, at 1 minute, I will show the green. At 1 minute and 30, the yellow, and at 2 minutes, red. When you see the red, you should wrap your speech up. For evaluations, at 2 minutes, I will show the green. At 2 minutes and 30 seconds, I will show the yellow. And at 3 minutes, I will show the red. And you should wrap up at this time. When called upon by the general evaluator, I will give my report. Thank you. And back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, Sunny. The accounter today is Andy Byrne.
Thank you very much, Carolina. The role of the accounter is to practice the competency of active listening. I'm going to listen carefully to everything you say and identify those that are using filler words, incorrect speech, and remarking on how well you did when called upon at the end of the meeting by the general evaluator. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Andy. Our grammarian today comes from District 48. Welcome, Sean.
Thank you, Carolina. Tonight I'm the grammarian. The grammarian has two duties. First of all, to track the word of the day. The word of the day today is the word strive. S-T-R-I-V-E. Couple of definitions: to exert oneself vigorously, try hard, to make strenuous effort toward any goal, or to contend in opposition, battle, or conflict to complete. So an example is, he strove or strive to make himself understood. So try to use that word in any of your speeches tonight, and I'll try to track that. In addition to that, the grammarian also looks at good use of grammar and poor use of grammar. And I'll try to point out where we could have done that in a better way or where we did that in a wonderful way. So I'll be looking and listening, as Andrew said, for great listening skills with your speaking. Thank you. Back to you, Carolina.
Thank you very much, Sean. I'll strive to look good today because we have a watcher. Kim.
Thank you, Carolina. And as she mentioned, I am your watcher for tonight. So at Online Presenters, most of us here have been here before and are members, but at Online Presenters, we have a unique role, and that is me, and that is the watcher. So I'm looking for things like, are you centered in your frame? Things that make us all better presenters online. And so I will strive to catch everything and give my report at the end. Back to you, Carolina.
Thank you very much, Kim. When you're a Toastmaster, it's very difficult to read the chat because you're sometimes busy, but someone will be helping me with the chat. Our chat monitor, Isabel.
Thank you, Carolina. Yes, I will watch the use of a chat, and when called upon, I will give a report. How did we do with the chat? Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Isabel. And today we will have winners, and our vote counter is Sarah.
Thank you, Carolina. As vote counter, I will strive to collect the ballots in a timely manner. And the ballots will go for the prepared speeches, table topics, and evaluations. And you will vote on your best speaker, your best table topic presenter, and your best evaluator. I will be reminding you in the chat to vote. And also, I will remind you in the chat after you have chosen a winner to applaud and be enthusiastic and make them feel really good for what they accomplished tonight. Back to you, Carolina.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Now it's time for my favorite part, the prepared speeches. The first speaker of today, he's working on the Persuasive Influence Level 1 Mastering Fundamentals, writing a speech with purpose. As part of his persuasive influence path, he's asking why we shy away from telling others how Toastmasters has helped us in our work and social lives. The title of his speech is Hiding Our Light Under a Bushel. Welcome, Graham Cairns.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, I don't think we have any guests here tonight, so I'm largely going to be preaching to the converted here, I suspect. But before I begin, I should tell you what has prompted this presentation today. I am president of a community club, which has for some years been struggling with low membership numbers. Now, I'm not on my Pat Malone here. I suspect we're all members of clubs where membership has been an issue. We have, on a number of occasions over the last couple of years, planned an open house meeting where we can demonstrate what Toastmasters does to people who don't know Toastmasters. Of course, COVID got in the way, and so it's been cancelled a couple of times, but it's due to go ahead finally in a week from today. At this stage, we have no confirmed responses from non-Toastmasters who are coming to the meeting. We've been putting flyers out. We've been promoting it on Facebook. We've been doing everything that we're supposed to do, except I suspect we have not been making personal invitations to non-Toastmasters to come along to Toastmasters. Now, I've been a Toastmaster on and off for 4 decades. I was a member for about 10 years, then life got in the way and I wandered away and I came back about 8 years ago. And anybody who knows me knows that I'm a Toastmaster. I put lots of stuff on my social media about being a Toastmaster. My son laughingly refers to it as Dad's cult. But the thing is, I can't remember physically inviting more than half a dozen people to Toastmasters in that 40 years of Toastmasters experience. Certainly, I talk the talk, but do I walk the walk? Do I physically invite people along to meetings who have not been to Toastmasters before? Not as effectively as I should. Now, I wondered whether I was alone. So I did a bit of research and I asked, what is the primary reason that stops people from asking friends and colleagues to come along to a Toastmasters club? Now, I'm not talking about in a corporate environment where you're in the same workplace. I'm talking about inviting people along to your community Toastmasters club. And there were 5 reasons that seem to be fairly common. One was a lack of understanding. That is, that some members may not fully understand the benefits of Toastmasters and how it can help them improve their communication and leadership skills. It's very difficult to go out and promote something if you don't understand the benefits that you have been gaining from it. They don't feel confident, if you like, to promote the organization to others. Now, I suspect that doesn't apply to any of us here. We all know the benefits of Toastmasters. We are all members of Toastmasters and we joined for a very good reason, and a very good reason might be different for you than it is for me, but it doesn't really matter. We know that we benefit, otherwise we wouldn't still be here. So it's not a lack of understanding in our part. Maybe it's time constraints. I mean, there is a significant time commitment. There's weekly meetings with this club, for example. They're only 1 hour, but it is a weekly meeting of 1 hour. Some members find it challenging to balance Toastmasters and other commitments, which makes it difficult for them to actively promote that organization to others. Because if you're having difficulty balancing your time, you might not feel confident in encouraging other people to make a time commitment on their behalf. So maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's personal preference. Well, Toastmasters can be a valuable experience for many people. It might not be the right fit for everybody. My son, for example, I have in fact invited him along to a Toastmasters meeting, but he said, Dad, I genuinely don't need it. The work that I am in, I don't need the skills that Toastmasters teach. My life, I'm happy with where I am. I don't need to come along. And that's fine. That's his personal thing. But I don't know everybody. I don't know what their personal preference would be. And so by not telling them about Toastmasters, I am depriving them of the opportunity to make that decision for themselves. There's a lack of incentives is one of the reasons. Toastmasters is, of course, a volunteer-run organisation, and members aren't compensated for their participation in recruitment efforts. Although some clubs do offer some little prizes for people who get the maximum number of guests along. You get a little pin, for example, or you might get a pen, or you might get some other way of compensating. But in general terms, there isn't a great deal of compensation is being offered. I don't think that that's a big issue for most Toastmasters, but maybe it's something we should consider. But the big one, I think, is fear of rejection. Toastmasters is an organisation focused on improving communication and public speaking skills. We know that. It can be challenging for some people. Some members may feel self-conscious about promoting the organisation to others, and they fear rejection or criticism. They fear somebody saying, yeah, well, it's a cult. It's not a cult. We know that. But then again, we would say that. Even if we were in a cult, we would say that it wasn't. But you get my point. I'm lousy at doing the close. I can come up with the best promotional ideas, but to actually get somebody to sign on the bottom line is sometimes difficult. So those are the 5 big reasons that come up most often when you ask, why don't we promote Toastmasters? So I'm going to ask you a question now. Do any of those 5 apply to you? Are you afraid of being rejected if you ask somebody to come to Toastmasters? Are you afraid that they're going to say no? Well, so what if they say no? You invite somebody along to Toastmasters and they say no. Are they then going to think, I'm never going to talk to them again? They invited me to a Toastmasters meeting? No, they're going to move on with their life. you should do the same. Is the time commitment too great for you? Are you making a decision for somebody else? Think about the reasons why we don't ask people to come along to Toastmasters. Not why we don't ask other Toastmasters to join our club as a joint member, which is the case with an advanced club with this, but for our community clubs, why are we not inviting people along? If you're not one of those people, if you do invite people along, thank you, thank you, thank you. We need you more than ever. But if you are one of those people who, like me, finds it difficult to ask, would you like to come to a Toastmasters meeting? Ask yourself, why am I setting up these barriers? And try and find a way around it. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Graham, for your speech. I felt a little bit identified because Toastmasters has helped me in so many ways, but I think I don't promote Toastmasters enough. You're completely right. Our second speaker is embarking on her second distinguished Toastmaster project. Continuing to promote her brand, the Logical Logistics Tech for TM series, she will be introducing the new AI speech software to her network and provide practical training. The title of her speech is DTM X2, Welcome to the Future. Welcome, Joni-Renee Laidlaw.
Something that you would have never thought we would have in our codes is artificial intelligence. Now I'm looking at distinguished Toastmaster Andrew Burns' background, and I can clearly see that the perception of artificial intelligence and technology is a bit on the dystopian side. I want to strive to prove to everyone how it's important to integrate. I mean, after all, if you look at the picture behind distinguished Toastmaster Andrew Burns, you can clearly see that the human there was doing better things while the AI was getting the work done, or the robots were getting the work done. And I can guarantee that their burnout is a lot easier to fix than ours. Now, I found out about Udly, which is a personalized speech coach, and I was in awe. Because when I just started out, spoke really, really fast. And people would always tell me, well, you speak really, really fast. But I had no metrics, no numbers, nothing to go by. And if I was talking to my own people, the neurodivergence where you jump in, I jump in, we're excited, we are all talking to each other. I never heard I spoke too fast. But from persons who would say that you speak too fast, even if I slowed down, I still kept getting told you speak too fast. Finding out that there was something that had metrics, that would have been amazing when I just started out, because then I could gauge exactly where I was. Toastmasters partner with Udly. And as such, I signed up to be an ambassador. DTM2 this time, I decided I was going to take a very practical approach, which I did the first distinguished Toastmasters around, to incorporate Udly. Now, the thing is, I've been spreading the message, I've been evangelizing, I've been introducing it. So Toastmasters do love Udly, and they're already associated with it. Not everybody is, but some are. It can vary from persons just starting out to persons like me who are going for their second distinguished Toastmasters, because it helps with collaboration from World Championship of Public Speaking and people who are even going now to try to get that title. I had a plan, I came together, I made it. In every distinguished Toastmasters program though, we need guidance. So I came up with the most epic committee. The first, I'm not sure if you know this person, I may have called him out earlier, distinguished Toastmaster Andrew Burns. I also chose distinguished Toastmaster Shelly-Ann O'Connor, distinguished Toastmasters, both, as well as somebody else you may know from this club, David Carr. Now for Toastmaster Andrew Burns, he was selected because he asked those questions I would have never thought, I never knew, that I never knew, that I never knew, that I never knew. I can see why he has his distinguished Toastmaster. I chose distinguished Toastmaster Shelly Ann O'Connor because DTM as well, but she also works in the telecommunications industry as well as marketing, and she guided me through the first time and did an effective job in speaking Joni. And I can tell you, Udley might be learning how to do it, but most people have a difficult time. I keep those who can understand how to speak the Joni around. I also chose Dominic Barnett. She's in technology as well. She's always been my right hand, which means that she will saddle both my guidance committee as well as my committee for execution. Finally, I think you know him. I think he was here as well somewhere in this meeting, David Carr. Again, someone else who is in technology, who is always open to learning and viewing and guiding, and is aware, painfully so at times, how the Toastmasters project works. I can tell you, this team helped fix my vision. I had one and I was seeing it, but I wasn't seeing it very clearly, if that's the way to say it. I decided that my vision would be the productive use of technology to enhance the Toastmasters experience. I also have a mission. What's my mission? To introduce, incorporate, and educate the meeting attendees practically in the use of the Udley software. Now, my plan is on April 1st to make sure that everyone who comes out doesn't only strive to go on the app, but in the way that online presenters has taught me and assisted me in the Logical Logistics Tech of Toastmasters series in the first edition. There will be a practical training. I've been noted to say, did I break it? Is that the way it's supposed to function? But I clicked this button and it didn't work. Huh? What am I gonna do? For those persons who've gone on the software, have those queries, don't quite understand, or like me, just need someone to hold your hand through the process, who won't look at you and go, like, that's so easy. Seriously, you didn't know that? I will ensure that everyone who comes from the beginning, I just stepped into Toastmasters, how does this help too? I'm on my way to the World Championship of Public Speaking, will understand the value that artificial intelligence will bring to your space, to my space, to our space as Toastmasters, and probably throw in a few tips in case some people don't show up for meeting roles. We can turn Udley into distinguished Toastmaster Andrew Burns' background. Overall, I think I chose a good committee. I'm hoping that I get the message out to everyone. And when I come back to let you know what happened, I'll be able to successfully say, I strove to bring Udley to my contact in a grassroots way, and I accomplished in an analytical fashion where I now have numbers that I can pass on and share with everybody about the metrics that Udley has to offer. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster, today.
Thank you very much, Joni. I really want to try Udley. I haven't had the opportunity yet, but I will very soon. Now it's time for everyone to speak. The next section is the table topics section. And we have a table topics master. Please welcome Evie Hartman.
Hello, hello, everyone. Oh my goodness, entrepreneurship. What a topic. What a good topic for the present day. Entrepreneurs are strivers, problem solvers, creative thinkers, people who are driven to make the world that they want to see. They bring new products and services to the market, they create jobs, they drive progress, and they fail and they fail and they fail and they fail and they get back up on their feet. It requires so many different things. So much hard work, so much determination. So let's talk about that a little bit. So I'm going to call on a few people tonight, and I have different tiers of questions. Some are for the entrepreneurial appreciators, some are more for the entrepreneurial curious, and some are for straight up entrepreneurs. So I'm going to ask you which one you are, and you're going to tell me, and I'm going to give you a question. All right, so first I'm going to call on Hector Cabrera. Hector, are you an entrepreneur appreciator? Are you entrepreneurship curious, or are you an entrepreneur?
Thank you, Evie. What a great question. And
that's just the short one. That's not the question yet.
Oh,
which one are you?
I'm a mix. I'm an appreciator of entrepreneurship.
Awesome. Okay, so Hector, what do you think are the most important aspects of business sense, and do you think you have it?
What do I think are the most important aspects of business sense? Well, I don't know if I'm one or not. Let me tell you a little bit about my history. My dad is an entrepreneur. He started his business around 65 years ago, and he's still running it. He's 82. He's running his little business in my hometown. I grew up in that environment, and I saw the excitement, but I also lived through the hardest parts of entrepreneurship. I myself am employed by a company. My paycheck is there every 2 weeks, come rain, come shine. But that's not necessarily the case of every entrepreneur, because it's also the excitement of the unknown, starting with an idea, striving to accomplish it, having a vision in your mind and bringing it to life. I saw that in my dad, but I also saw how his company went down to the ground and disappeared after a financial crisis in Mexico. And that told me I'm not for it. I want to work on the big corporations. And 20 years later, I said, I don't like this. I want to get myself back into trying my own. And that's when I discovered the company I work for right now, which is a small company started by an entrepreneur that is still running it. And my job is kind of like a franchise, if you might say. If I give results, I get my bonus. If I don't get a penny. In a way, I'm starting to put my feet on the water of entrepreneurship without being right there. I think you got to be really brave and strive really hard to be a good entrepreneur. That's what I can share right now.
Thank you so much, Hector. All right, and for my next volunteer, Antoinette, are you an entrepreneur appreciator? Are you curious about it, or are you a full-blown entrepreneur?
The first one.
All right. Okay, I've got plenty of questions for that one. Do you prefer to support local businesses over global corporations? If so, give us some examples.
Thank you for that question. Very interesting one, I must add. In Tobago, we have a lot of small businesses. Having been working in a financial institution. So many of the businesses are like persons who would do rental of properties. You may be building up, you may have your home and you may want to rent downstairs. We call that monetizing your property. So a lot of Tobagonians have that as their little business on the side, as they would say. To me, it's a very interesting business. has its ups and downs. For instance, for the renters, they will come, they may rent for about a few months, and then after they leave, the landlord will have to do a lot of cleaning, then advertise again, and the whole process starts over and over again. And it could be tiring. It could be, in a sense, not interesting, or it could be, in a sense, very demotivating. However, I still admire those people because they just keep going and going and going, especially landlords. They just keep renting to other people. And later on in life, they would see the profits, because it takes roughly about possibly 10 to 15 years to really realize your profit. And that's why for me, I really like what they do. And I also like that they continue going, they're being motivated. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Antoinette. All right, Petra. Petra, are you an entrepreneur appreciator? Are you entrepreneurship curious, or are you an entrepreneur?
Evie, I think of a mix.
Okay, all right. So what's a risk you've taken in your life that did not go so well, and one risk you took in your life that went great?
Thank you, Table Topic Master. Hello, friends. What risk in my life? One that did work and one that didn't work. I'm going to strive to answer your question. Why? Because I take risk all the time. And I never thought of the outcome, whether it will be working or it won't be working. I'm a risk taker. But going back to combine risk-taking with being an entrepreneur, or being entrepreneur enthusiast, or whatever, I'm going to strive to tell you that the one I did not succeed is trying to write humorous speech. It's not my thing. But one of these days, I'm going to try my best. I'm going to strive to write a good humorous speech to entertain people with maybe a twist of thought. And that would be a motivational humorous speech. I don't know if that will work. I will try one day. And the thing that I risked and it paid off was after joining Toastmasters for only 1 week, I participated in Table Topics contest in District 51, which combined 7 countries in Asia. There were 250 clubs and 11 divisions, and I was representing Thailand in Hong Kong. And after 2 months of becoming a Toastmaster, I won District 51 Table Topic contest. And that was the one I think paid off, not by the fame, but by the message I delivered to 2,000 audience in Hong Kong. That's my answer, Table Topic Master.
Thank you so much, Petra. For what it's worth, I've laughed a lot during your speeches for good reasons. All right. So I'm looking for other people who don't have roles. I see Andre. All right, Andre, are you an entrepreneur appreciator? Are you entrepreneurship curious, or are you an entrepreneur? Just answer that question, and then I'll give you the real question.
Actually, all those three.
Ah, okay. All right. Do you think business education is emphasized enough in school? And if not, how would you fill in those gaps?
Well, thank you very much for that question, my Madam Table Topics Master. This is an excellent question for me because I'm an entrepreneur and I've been running my business for the last 16 years. And something that I feel passionate about, especially when I talk to my children. My daughter is 15 and she has recently started her business studies in school. And finally, all those years of hard work, working for myself, start paying off. She started coming up to me with various questions about how's the best way to make money with doing very, very little. Oh, Dad, you know, what about if you give me £1,000 and I'll see what I can do with that? And questions that kind of sort. And I'm thinking that the financial or business education is not prioritized enough in UK schools. If it was up to me, I would have made it compulsory, starting from the very early age. So maybe by the time my children get to 15, I could borrow money from them and say, look, what about I'll take maybe a £1,000 or £2,000 and I play with it and I'll see what I can do. So hopefully my son, who is 11 now and he still goes to primary school, his final year, he's much more smarter than me and our daughter, so his sister. He's saving money, not spending, but saving, and so on. And he is our family bank. From time to time, my daughter and me, we just go to him, say, look, son, can I have a few pounds for here, for there? And it's the pleasure to my heart. Finally, he started charging interest on little family loans and a few pence here, few pence there. So to me, the entrepreneurship starts from the family, from the very early age, and it's never enough of that. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Andre. All right, I believe we have reached the end of our allotted time for table topics. So just to recap, Hector watched his dad strive and admires that very much, but prefers the more corporate life where the paycheck comes in regularly, which is completely valid. Antoinette is very familiar with the tireless work of the local entrepreneurs in her community and the patience it requires to see a return on their investments. Petra talks about her risks right here in Toastmasters, which are very both a little bit relatable, one part relatable and one part goals, absolute goals, because contest, she's amazing. Andre talked about his own entrepreneurship and his children and watching his son blossom to the point where he's charging interest. This was an amazing table topic session. Thank you to all of our table topic speakers. Timekeeper, did all of them qualify? All right, fantastic. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Times are in the chat.
All right, fantastic. Everybody, please submit your votes and thank you so much. Back to you, table. Let's see. Toastmaster. Wow.
Thank you very
Back to
much,
you, Toastmaster.
Evie. Thank you very much, Evie. Submit your vote for your favorite table topics speaker and submit your vote for your favorite speaker. Both speakers are qualified. Graham and Joni, send your vote for your favorite to our vote counter, Sarah. And now it's time for the last section of this meeting and time for feedback. Please welcome our general evaluator, Mike Well, welcome, Mike.
I think you're on mute, Mike.
All right. I think I'm on now.
Yes.
Well, I'm happy to be here as your general evaluator this evening. I think we are pressed for time, so I'm going to be pushing right through this. So let's get right to it. Let's go right straight to our first evaluator, Jim Barber. Jim Barber will be evaluating Graham Cairns' speech. Jim, what say you?
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. I say welcome, my fellow Toastmasters, our most welcome guest, Sean, and of course, the voice from the future, Graham Cairns. Vocally, Graham, you are an accomplished presenter. You are a joy to listen to. Your voice is like a musical instrument. You just know how to use it. And you could read the phone book. I'm dating myself there, but you could read the phone book and we would enjoy listening to you. So just there. At one point you said, for example, we walk the talk, but we talk the talk, but do we walk the walk? It's not a new phrase. We've all heard that before, but the way that you said it had a musical cadence to it, and it summed up exactly what you were saying. It's just so well done. Let's move to visual, and the same thing there. Visually, you've got good framing, your lighting is great. Your gestures were fluid, they were natural, they were congruent with what you were saying. Your arms were moving around, you were gesturing, but it wasn't like they didn't have purpose. When you wanted to say something, you said it with not just your words, but with your hands. Worked very, very well. I have one suggestion for you, and it's a small thing, but it's something, deals more with the structure of your presentation. You talked about the 5 reasons that we didn't invite people to a Toastmasters meeting. And you talked about number 1 is, and then you didn't really identify what numbers 2, 3, 4, and 5 were. You said the last one is, and I said, aha, we're at number 5, but what were 2, 3, and 4? You covered them, but you didn't specifically point them out as saying these were those. So 2 possibilities. 1, don't say that there are 5, just say there are many reasons or there are several reasons. And that way we're not going to be concerned about it. Or identify that there are 5 and then say, this is number 1, this is number 2, this is number 3, and that sort of thing. It makes it a little easier for us to keep track of which one is number 2, that sort of thing. Minor little thing though, you are an accomplished presenter. I always look forward to hearing you, and you didn't let me down on this one. One last thing, Sean, I was going to strive to use the word of the day, but I ran out of time, so I'm not going to be able to do it. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Jim Barber, for a very thorough evaluation. Our next evaluator is live and in person, David F. Carr. He's going to be evaluating Joni on her speech. David, let's get to it.
All right. But one of the things I'm a little bit of a broken record about is don't just hide behind your slides. And if you noticed, Joni put herself in the picture, literally in the picture of what she was sharing. Yeah, we saw something about that with the Airglass, but she didn't need Airglass. She was able to do that with, I think maybe she's using the PowerPoint plugin that I've heard a lot about. Okay, she's nodding. Maybe you can put something in the chat about that. But anyways, a good use of the technology to keep people engaged and make sure that we're not just looking at the slides, we're seeing your face, we're seeing your expression. And we certainly were hearing you. And I mean that in terms of you're giving a lively presentation. It's you know, so many people, I think, get into a PowerPoint coma where they're just, and on my next slide, I will display, yes. No, you aren't doing that. You're very much bringing us in. And I think importantly, you used a specific concrete example of why this technology is exciting to you and why it gives you feedback that you can put to work, which was the, everybody says I'm speaking too fast. Well, Joni, you may have heard that some people say I use a lot of ums and ahs. I don't know whether I'm doing it right now. I never know when I'm doing it, but I can speak into the program or give it a recording and it will give me an exacting and really painful transcript of all the times that I made these transgressions. And you can look at the same thing and get feedback on what it is specifically that you can use to improve on that particular measure. And so, we're always supposed to come up with things that you could do to improve. Sometimes I feel like I'm stretching a little bit to come up with something, but maybe you could have spent a little bit more time giving context for people who weren't here when we had the visitor from Udley a little while ago. Make sure that they understand what it is and why it's valuable. And I thought actually maybe a quick screenshot of how it shows you the metrics, how that is displayed. You could have maybe used the example specifically of you were speaking too fast in this section to give people an idea of what the value is if they can't necessarily imagine it. And obviously that's what your bigger program on, I believe it's April 1st, is going to do for people, is allow them to see in a very specific way how they can put this to work productively in their own speech practice, in their own review of actual speeches that they've delivered. I thought you did an overall wonderful job. And I think you're providing a valuable service overall, because when people don't quite know how to use a technology, sometimes they feel stupid when really it's the stupid technology not measuring up to their skills. We should at least make sure the technology and the people coaching on technology meet them halfway. General evaluator.
All right. Thank you, David Carr, for that evaluation. I'm going to go ahead and put the reporters on notice now to go ahead and get prepared to report your findings. I'd like to, while they're preparing, I'd like to remind everyone to vote for best speaker, best evaluator, and best table topics person. You will be able to find your voting tool in the chat menu, which is the finest voting tool I've ever witnessed in my life. I'm the general evaluator. I can say that. So what I'd like to do is not to go through every role that has taken place, but hammer down on a few of the ones that I thought I would like to address. Our evaluators, both of them, are some of the best evaluators that I've witnessed since Toastmasters. I feel like I am in a learning and evaluation learning lesson here. For me to try and come up with things that you need to work on and things like that would be a waste of time and energy. I think you guys both did a great job tonight. You both would be able to compete in any competition for evaluation. So thank you very much for what you guys brought to the table. Please. Our table topics master, Evie, you have this energy and this excitement about you that just kind of, you can't say bleeds because bleeding kind of goes slow. Your energy level just bursts out into whatever it is you're talking about. Your hand motion, your facial expressions, everything is in sync. The only thing that could take you to the next level is if you would look at the camera. Your energy is looking at your screen and at all the people as if you're having this good relationship with each of them. And yet, I rarely ever saw you look in the camera. And if you could do that, you would just like blow everybody, the entire audience, just off the page. The rest of the meeting went quite well. We're running out of time. So that is my evaluation of the meeting. I'll counter. Andrew Byrne, what say you?
I say that this group did a wonderful job. I did not hear too many ahs at all for fillers, although people did use so, and they did use the word and. Other than that, club did a really good job. Back to you.
Thank you, Andrew. Grammarian, Sean Forrester. How'd we do on a grammarian report?
Well, I have to say thank you. We had many people that used the word strive. We had Carolina, Kim, Sarah, Graham, Joni, Petra used it twice. Graham used it once. And a couple of turns of phrase that I noted. I loved layers of depth in Alan's speech about this Airglass and the use of holograms. I think that was a really good visual for me. Teleports live inside my content. I thought that was really good. And how do you pass control to all live within? There's a question that we have to kind of think about a little bit. Graham used dad's cult. I thought that was interesting. Depriving them of opportunities. We had Joni using evangelizing, Hector using feet on the wire. We had Petra, I just have to say, yay, good for you. Just joined Toastmasters and achieved what you achieved. That's awesome. You have raw talent. Keep cultivating that. Read from the phone book, Graham, and congruent with what you were saying. And then lastly, Carr, you said what the value is on. So again, I wrote quickly because I'm a bad writer, but I wrote those things down to say, I liked what you said. So thank you. I tried to capture as quickly as I could, and that would be my grammarian report this evening.
Thank you, Sean.
Mr. General Evaluator.
For that thorough report. Thank you, Sean. Now for our timer report, that ice cold glass of sweet tea, Sunny Fridge.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. In the interest of time, I will strive to be brief. Everyone qualified and the times are in the chat.
Hi. Thank you, Sunny, for the timers report. Now our vote counter. Do we have winners? And I would like to pass that on to the Toastmaster of the day to receive those results on the vote counting. It's been a pleasure being your general evaluator this evening. Toastmaster Carolina Ramirez.
Thank you very much, Mike. And you missed the chat monitor. Isabel, would you like to give us your report?
Yes, I have a very short report. Thank you for remembering me. We have an active use of chat, and people express their thoughts about speeches as they heard. And most notably, there were 20 plus messages about how impressive the Airglass tool was when Alan from Mobius was speaking. There were also many good functional use of chat, for example, announcing speaking time, collecting votes, and information sharing. All in all, we have an active use of chat, but not overwhelming. The chat contents was interesting, informative, and encouraging. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Isabel. And we have a watcher, the watcher. Welcome, Kim, with your report.
Thank you, Carolina. During today's meeting, I strived to find issues with everyone's online image. Fortunately, as an advanced club, there really weren't many issues for me to include in my report. So I'll just report on what I saw as I was watching. Sunny Fridge gave us a great example of not only centering herself in the frame, but putting that frame, her webcam, on one side to emphasize the timing aspect of her role tonight. Great job, Sunny. Joni Laidlaw also used the same strategy by putting her webcam in a circle on top of her wonderful presentation about Yuli. I also loved how you zoomed in and out on people's pictures as you were talking about them. That was so cool. So thumbs up, great job. Overall, everyone did a fantastic job of centering themselves within their frames. Very nice. I was striving to find issues to include in my report once again, and I saw a very interesting artifact with Joni. Joni, during your speech, it was not noticeable because you had a black background and you have black hair. But when you put yourself against a blue background, your hair was fading in and out. And it was actually fascinating to watch, but it probably wasn't what you were striving to achieve. So I'm not sure the best fix, but I imagine the first thing I would try is to add more lighting. Speaking of lighting, Antoinette, you had a very strange flashing of your lighting as you were doing your table topics. And you would alternate from looking like Antoinette to a cartoon. Antoinette cartoon. The lighting was just blown out. So pretty cool, but again, probably not what you're striving to accomplish. As far as backgrounds are concerned, I think the meeting theme of entrepreneurship was a very difficult theme to represent in backgrounds. But in the future, it'd be nice to see more people varying their backgrounds to represent the theme of the day. And thank you so much, Carolina. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Kim. Before finishing this meeting, please, Sarah, would you help me to announce the winners?
Thank you, Carolina. Best speaker, Graham Cairns. Best table topic speaker, Andrei Smolenko. And the best evaluator, David Carr.
Woo! Congratulations to the winners. Thank you, Sarah. Back to you, Mr. President, Andy, to close the meeting.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I'm just showing you my avatar right now. And the only reason I'm doing that is because some of you may not be updated on your downloads from Zoom. This is version 5.13.11, and it's got a whole bunch of new features that are really cool and you'd probably enjoy. One of the other things I did was I put into chat, and you can save that chat, the speed numbers that are known to be associated with different regions of the country, as well as different presentations like TED Talks. I'm originally from New York, and we always were admonished on how we strive to speak slower because our natural speed is very fast. We used to say that in the South, you speak about 50 words a minute, but in the New York City area, we speak at 150 to 250 words a minute with gusts up to 400. So those are the differences that we have in the different regions. And